When you have to speak to or in front of someone in authority, how does it make you feel? What do you think about? How do you speak? How do you perform? My name is Michael Williams, and today we're going to continue our little series on how you can speak more confidently in or around people in authority. Now remember, when I say authority, I'm not just talking about your boss or a manager. It could be those people, but it could also be an interviewer. It could be people that you don't know. It could be someone that has a personality type or a speaking style that causes you to feel uncomfortable. So yes, we're focusing on people in authority, but we can also expand this out to talk about other speaking situations in which you may not perform as well as you would like. So in this particular video, we're going to just talk about how you feel, what you think, and how you speak when you have to speak to, with, or around people in authority. So let's talk about what happens. Well, one thing that can start to happen to people is they start to feel a bit anxious and nervous. Now, how does this feel in our bodies? Well, some people begin to feel like a little pit in their stomach, right? A little pit in their stomach. Other people have told me that they feel a tightness in their chest, okay? Some people's breathing becomes more shallow, right? People will begin to sweat, okay? They'll begin to sweat on their face, their underarms, the rest of their body. They'll just get sweaty. Other people begin to lose their train of thought. That is, their thinking gets cloudy. Information that you knew, that you prepared for, all of a sudden you just start to forget it. People begin to stumble over their words. They begin to stutter often. They can't get words out, or they're repeating themselves like that. Sometimes people will go completely blank, just forget everything. Someone asks you a basic question and you can't come up with the answer. So all of these things can start to happen to you in terms of your behavior, in terms of your ability to speak smoothly and clearly. And what else can happen? Well, you can start to think about, and this can happen even before. So let's just say that you have a meeting that's coming up and you know that there'll be some high-level people there. And as you anticipate that, you can start to feel anxious, right? You can just feel it. You can feel it coming on. You may even start to think back or remember how you didn't perform as well the last time there were leadership there. So you start to become anxious, and then you're in the meeting, and what begins to happen is you start to think about how you want to make sure that you impress them, how you want to make sure that you articulate your thoughts and your ideas, or if it's an update, how you do that as clearly and as smoothly as possible. And so because you're anticipating and because you're wanting to do a good job, you actually become what I call negatively distracted, right? So it's something that we call negative, and excuse my back, negative distractions. Negative distractions. And you're probably saying, well, Michael, are there positive distractions? Or sometimes I'll call them distractors. And yes, there are, and we'll talk about some of those probably in our fourth video. But today, we're just going to talk about negative distractions or distractors, and those are thoughts that you might have in terms of who's in the room. A person who's in authority in the room and can have an impact on your career, on your finances, on your reputation, becomes a negative distractor. Now, don't worry, we're going to go deeper in the next video on why you behave the way you behave, why you speak the way you speak. So all the things that we listed, we're going to talk about why that happens, and these negative distractions or distractors will be a core part of that. But for right now, we just want to talk about what happens to us mentally, psychologically, even emotionally, we start worrying about and thinking about who's in the room. And it could be like there's a certain number of people, or there are certain people in certain positions who are in the room. They're watching you, they're observing you, and you want to make sure that you do a good job. You want to make sure that you present yourself as a competent, confident person. And because you're worried about that, because you're thinking about that, you've allowed yourself now to become negatively distracted, which actually produces the opposite effect, right? So instead of you performing well because you're worried or you're anxious or you're focused on that, you actually perform more poorly. You actually project a person who's less competent, less articulate, less confident because of these negative distractions. So these are some of the things that can happen to us. We can become anxious and nervous, and that displays itself in our bodies in terms of sweaty palms, sweaty foreheads, sweaty bodies. Our breathing can become more shallow. We can become very stiff and tight. We can feel something in our stomach. We can feel something in our chest. We often divert our eyes, and so we don't make good eye contact. These are some other things that can happen. We can start to stumble with our speech, to stumble over our words, repeat words. We can start to stutter. We can start to blabber on, right? Just not speaking coherently, not speaking logically, and just start to repeat things over and over. So these are all the things, not all the things, but these are a lot of the things that can happen. Now, if you have some other things that happen to you, feel free to go ahead and leave those in the comment area of this video or wherever it is that you're watching this. Because it'd be very interesting to know what kinds of things happen to you. And I know I haven't covered everything, but I have covered a lot of the basic things and general responses that people have when they're speaking to people in authority, or when they're even speaking around people in authority. So I want you to watch the next video, because we're going to talk about some of the psychological reasons, some of the beliefs beneath the surface, right? Getting down to the source of why this happens to us. Why does this happen to us? That's what we'll talk about in the next video. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Michael Williams. See you in the next video.